Hi, I'm Brooklyn from Brooklyns Bungalow, and today we're going to be putting together your Freedom Kit. In your kit, you'll have the essentials needed to complete it, things that you can't really buy anywhere else. The things that aren't included are the glitter, paint, and the glue. Those things we'll get to later. First, let's check that you have everything in your kit that you need. The twine, candy cane stripe twine, reusable Chevron stencil, 2 strips of red burlap, 3 strips of turquoise burlap, 7 letters that spell out freedom, 3 florets, 7 flags, and 14 rhinestones. Once you have checked that you have all of those things, there's one last ingredient that some people order and some do not. You may have asked for a bag of 2 ounces of the Tiara Silver German glass glitter. If you don't have these, you can certainly purchase it from a Miss Mustard Seed German glass glitter retailer. I'm one, and we have 3 locations: Salina, McKinney, and Frisco, Texas. My go-to brand is CC Caldwell. Of course, there's lots of reasons for that, but one of my main reasons is I like to paint indoors. CC Caldwell is non-toxic, sticks to everything, it's made in America, and quite frankly, she has great color choices. Today we're going to be using Vintage White, Jersey Tomato, and Newport Navy. We're going to layer these in different ways, and I will show you those techniques a little bit later, but just want you to pay particular attention to the finished product down here, and when you're done with this video, you will be done with your bunting. What you're going to do is set most everything over to the side, lay out your flags, and paint them with Newport Navy. I always suggest, I don't always do, but I do suggest that you take the paint out of your quart, put it in a separate container, and cover it with its lid. If you don't do that, it's going to get real crusty real quick, and if you're not me and don't paint every day, then you could waste your paint. It's made with chalk and clay, so it will dry out and it'll get thicker over time. That works for a lot of projects, but some people freak out when that happens. So, if you want to avoid that problem, always take your paint out and put it in a separate container. Alright, so let's start. This is a cheap $1.50 brush from Lowe's. You can buy fancy brush, and I do have fancy brushes, but I don't want you to be scared and think that you have to have a whole bunch of fancy equipment to complete this, because you don't. You just need the paint, and you need the kit, and a cheapy little brush will do just fine. So, load your brush, pick up your flag, and go to town. You just want to make sure that you get the entire flag covered, and we might go back in a little bit and do a second coat, but it's really not necessary, because if you notice in the bunting below, it's not perfect, and it's not supposed to be. Later on, when we glitter the letters, you'll find out that the glitter is going to tarnish over time. And so next year, it's going to look vintage. So you don't want your flags to look sparkly and brand new. You want them to look a little old and worn and even tattered like an old flag. Alright, so that's all I've done. I didn't really get the edges because most of the edges come out black anyway because of the router or the way that we cut them out. But you can if you want, and I never paint the back because that's just a waste of paint. Okay, as stated before, make sure to take your paint out of the container and put it in a separate container. But now we're going to paint the florets red, Jersey Tomato red. So I have just dipped it out. Using the same brush, washed it out with just water. I didn't even use soap. And all I'm going to do is paint the shiny side of the wood. If you don't have a shiny side on your wood, it's because I used a different wood. Don't worry about it. But later on, when we hot glue these little babies to that, the rough wood will stick better. So I'm just going to paint the shiny side, plus you'll get to see that CC Caldwell's paints will stick to any finish and will stick really, really well. Again, I'm kind of painting like a 2-year-old, but I'm not going to lie, I got a little carried away the last time on the flags, and my hands were really blue. So I'm trying to be a little bit more careful for the camera. Oops, I painted the wrong side. It's okay. Just keep going. It's fine. We're going to make mistakes. And they're all easily fixed. Now, the Jersey tomato over the dark might need 2 coats. I prefer 2 coats, but it's really not too big of a deal. So we're going to let those dry, and then we'll go back and we'll do a second layer when they're done. While those are drying, we're going to come over here and use our glitter to cover our letters. Okay, so the next step is to glitter your letters. What I've done here is just poured out a little bit of Mod Podge into a cup. You really don't need much. And then I have another cup with a spoon so that I can glitter the letters over the cup and save the glitter to put back in the container. You'll see how I do that in a second. Your glitter looks like this, and you can just pour it into the container like this. Okay. So we put the glitter in there, take our little craft brush, pick up your letter, and just smear it with glue. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to get all of the surface. Whatever surfaces you don't get, the glitter won't stick to it. So I've covered the surface in glue, and then I'm just going to dip my spoon in there and sprinkle it. I don't like to get the sides of the letter because it tends to get bulky and kind of lose its shape, but you don't need much, and there's the end result. Okay, I wanted to tell you a couple of other little pointers about the glitter. If you buy Miss Mustard Seed's German glass glitter, it comes in a wide mouth container. So when you use it, it's very easy to dip your spoon in and put the glitter back in the container. Matter of fact, it kind of works the same way as if you dumped it in a cup. You can glitter right over the container without spilling anything. So that's one really nice feature, and the reason why it's in such a short, fat little container. It's just very user-friendly. For me, in my workshops and at home, I like to buy these at Big Lots. They're $1 a piece, and they're just Parmesan cheese or crushed red pepper shakers. So they're about $1, and I put all my glitter inside there, and because of the big holes, it all comes out and it's perfect. Now I usually do that over a paper plate at home. So that's just food for thought. Again, $1 at Big Lots. Miss Mustard Seed's German glass glitter comes in a wide mouth container, so you kind of don't need that, but you will need to use a spoon. And then for your purposes, your glitter is most likely going to be coming in a little baggie, and you can tell that I didn't even use half of it. So there's plenty left to practice with other projects after you're done with your freedom bunting. You just put it back in your bag and be done with it. Okay, so the next step, we're going to get your vintage whiteout, put it in a cup, and we are going to stencil every other flag. So as you can see, we only did the second one, the fourth one, and the sixth one. I do not recommend you use burlap as your table topper. Everything sticks to it. So anyways, just line up your chevron, put it down on your flag like that, and you're going to dab the white. Just take a little bit of white, dab, 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 dab. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to lift the stencil off, and you'll see they aren't perfect, but they don't have to be. They're going to look awesome in the end. Next step is the second coat of Jersey tomato on the florets. One of the most important parts is the dry brushing of vintage white over the Newport Navy. That's on the 4 flags that aren't chevron. So on your 4 remaining flags, I'm going to teach you how to dry brush. It's going to make something that I call acid wash jeans. So you dip your same craft brush, just been washed out with water, in paint, and you pounce it off so that it's almost non-existent on the brush. Thus the word dry brush. And all you do is start from the bottom to the top and make long streaks up and down. Don't be afraid, but you have to go all the way up and down. And as you can see, it makes little streaks of white. It's called dry brushing. You don't want to put too much on your brush because then you'll get too much on the flag, and that's not the look you're going for. So once again, you load your brush, you pounce it off on the plate, and you go all the way up and down in the same direction. You can go different directions, but for this particular design, I decided to go up and down. If you want to go in both directions, then you would just go afterwards and go back and forth. Next step is to wrap your chevron flags with the turquoise burlap. All I do is put a little dollop of hot glue in the center of my chevron flag to tack it down. Lay it down over the middle, and then turn it over and tack it down on the back. And the next step is to glue your red florets on top of it. I put dollops on the back of the florets all over, so it kind of overlaps the blue and gives it something else to stick to. Okay, so now all the letters are glued on, looking fancy, very cute. Last step, actually the last 3 steps, are your 12mm rhinestones, thread it on your twine, and tie your burlap little embellishments on the top. You can see that putting your Freedom bunting together is quite easy if you know how to do it. Dry brushing, worst thing you can do is load your brush with too much paint. Stencil doesn't have to be perfect, it's supposed to be shabby. Your glitter is going to tarnish by next year, and it's like Pampered Chef. The worse it looks, the better it cooks. And this is going to look fabulous, vintage, and you will be able to say that you made it. So thank you for tuning in to Brooklyn's Bungalow Freedom Bunting.